or taken. But character determines whether we use it for ourselves or remain faithful to something greater.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with
Mayor Brandon Johnson says
system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
You know, when I talk to you about our next guest, and it's truly an honor. I've been privileged enough to have met Scott before the economic collapse. We actually met about 2005-ish, 2006, and we would talk throughout the years. And I have come to appreciate him as really, truly, when it comes to markets, one of the smartest guys I know in interpreting markets and predicting markets and understanding markets. So immediately upon me hearing that Brandon Johnson had some new way to figure out a gap.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says he has a plan to bridge Chicago's growing budget gap, but city council members remain skeptical. WGN political editor Taman Bradley is here now with the latest to explain this one. Taman.
Good afternoon, Lourdes. This summer, the mayor's budget team projected a 2026 budget shortfall of tens of millions of dollars. The mayor says he's come up with a fix, and his plan does not require city council approval. Today, Mayor Brandon Johnson announced a plan to close the 2026 budget gap, and he blasted his city council opponents.
Today, I'm grateful to share that my administration has identified a pathway forward to close the projected $85.1 million budget shortfall for fiscal year 2026, which was created by members of the corporate caucus.
The mayor plans to refinance eligible city bonds, which he's...
Now, I could be wrong, because I am not as smart as my next guest. But to refinance debt when money and debt is at the highest it's been in 21 years, I just can't figure out how you save money doing it. But I'm not an expert in economics, but I can spot ghettonomics. My next guest is an expert in economics. Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, you handsome son of a gun. How can you possibly close the budget by paying more for debt than you were paying before?
Like Mayor Svengoolie. Maybe he's going to try to do a little switcheroo with the yield curve. But he's not going to win. There's no way around it. I don't understand how. No. I mean, you know what it means is he doesn't understand it. That's the bottom line. He does not understand it, because if you're sitting in that room, and let's just say it's your mortgage on your house, and the rates are whatever. Your mortgage is at 4% because we got that low during the pandemic. Now rates are at 7%, and you're going to cover the shortfall by refinancing from 4% up to 7%? That doesn't make sense.
Because you're an expert in economics. But me, my friend, I'm an expert in ghettonomics. And here's how ghettonomics works. Ghettonomics means when you refi, you don't make a payment for 60 days. Woo! We're going shopping! You could pretend you're making money because you don't have to make payments for 60 days, and you go to Louis Vuitton and you buy a bag, and you stop at your way to Nordstrom's, you get yourself some Stacey Adams, and you're styling.
That's what these people do, and they'll do that debt consolidation where they get a big loan to pay off all their credit cards, but they don't cut up the credit cards. Then they have now this big loan, and then they re-up the credit cards again. That's what he's going to do.
So
this is embarrassing.
Well, what's embarrassing is that other part you said about defaulting strategically. There's a component missing in strategic default that's cut in this clip as well. I think you're gonna enjoy this, Scott. And this, after all, I know how hard you work. I want you to enjoy some of your day.
Says would lower overall debt service costs. And if necessary, Mayor Johnson says the city will tap into remaining COVID relief money. Johnson blames the budget shortfall on revenue backed by a rebel group of alders.
From the beginning, our administration warned that this so-called alternative budget relied on speculative, untested revenues that were not guaranteed to materialize. The most glaring example is the alternate group's plan to sell outstanding debt to a third-party collector. That proposal produced $0.
They went to 20 banks, 20, that all have a relationship with the city. They have over $1 billion in debt that they were trying to sell for anything. You know what the bid was? Gatsangul. Nothing. My offer to you is this. Nothing. You could buy $1 billion for 10 cents on the dollar. Wait, who am I trying to collect from? Chicago Democrats. It ain't worth a dime.
Well, they can't sell the Skyway or the parking meters anymore, so now they're down to nothing.
Yeah. You can't sell debt. You can't sell billions of dollars of debt for 80 million, 90 million. That's all you. That's what you say you're short. You can't. I got 1.1 billion. I'm looking for 100 million. Anybody. Crickets. That's a bankruptcy.
I had to explain it to my finance class when I was adjunct professor of finance at DePaul. I said, look, we looked at the books of the city of Chicago, and these kids, they're 20, 21, 22 years old. They're looking at me kind of cross-eyed, raising their hands, saying, Mr. Shellady, the city's bankrupt. I said, no. As long as they have 3 cups and a round red ball, they're going to play keep away, and they're going to keep moving the chairs around on that Titanic because it won't sink yet. But they are structurally, closed. They're structurally in default. They're structurally out of business. But they'll be able to keep this thing going with smoke and mirrors as long as they can sell bonds.
I mean, it is unbelievable. And all I keep thinking about is that first class with you and the kid from Wheaton named Winston. And he says, excuse me, Professor Scott, the cow guy, I've only played spin the bottle once, and I did graduate high school, and it looks to me like Chicago's bankrupt. How did you not laugh for the rest of the year?
No, I told them this is the world they're going to be graduating into, and they got to steer well clear of it, right? I mean, they didn't know how to buy a car. I taught them how to do that, but I also taught them what's it like buying a house, and they didn't really remember that old thing when you were a kid. When we were younger, you could buy points.
Yeah,
nobody really does that anymore. I talked to them about that and what it means and duration. And by the end of the class, at the end of the course, they were lapping it up left, right, and center because I opened their eyes up to the world, and they saw that the city that they lived in, they saw that back then in 2014, the $62,000 a year their parents were paying, back then. Which is insane, was going to be smoke and mirrors. I mean, they were graduating in a world where everybody was lying to them.
So now take, for instance, the example of all of these kids who come from these areas, and their life is a lot easier than it used to be for any of us or any of the generations in the past. And they get to the college, and they still have a hard time working out how to achieve at things and what to do when you do achieve. See, achieving is only the first hurdle. It's what to do after the money comes. What do you do then? And now reflect on somebody who grew up wearing everybody else's clothes, who passed away with an incredible life story of not just talent, but business accolades, achievement, a kind of altruism and that can only come from an individual, not a government, as she gave away tremendous amounts of money through philanthropy. What an amazing businesswoman. And I could be wrong, but I don't remember, was it Harvard, Yale, or Oxford that gave Dolly Parton her degree?
The woman was just genuinely smart. She obviously shouldn't go to any one of those. She's from a small town in Sevierville, Tennessee. I've been up there. But the best story I like about her, and you need to hear it because I did it on my show today, was that in 1974, she sung a song, wrote the song and sang it, I Will Always Love You. Elvis heard it and said, I want to record it. Elvis was being managed then by a famous guy named Colonel Tom Parker.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He got in touch. He got in touch with Dolly and said, Elvis wants to sing that song. She was still young and not really had made anything yet and was just kind of coming up through the ranks, and she had a small team around her. And when they heard that the most famous singer at the time wanted to sing that song, they were absolutely ecstatic. This was their ticket. They're going to hit the big time. And Colonel Tom Parker said there's only one caveat, is that he wants 50% of the song rights, writing and lyrics. I mean, lyrics and the music. And she says, well, that's my writing. Those are my lyrics. Why would I do that? He says, well, Elvis isn't going to do it unless you give him basically 50% of everything. And she says, well, I can't. I wrote it. It's me. He says, all right. So that's a no? She says, no, I can't do that. And so he pulled stakes, canceled the recording session. Her team around her was livid. Fast forward to 1992. Whitney Houston sings it in a movie called The Bodyguard.
Yeah.
They interviewed Dolly about that then. She says, on just that recording, I've made over $10 million and I can buy Graceland with it now outright. So I think I won that bet.
And I'll tell you what, that story of that bastard, that Tom Parker, I spent I don't know how many hours in Vegas thinking he was buried there, looking for his gravesite with 5 Starbucks in the car, because that's my thing. I got a little bit of a tick. I like to relieve myself on the graves of my enemy. I couldn't find it, however. And then I find out he's one of you people. Am I not right? Isn't he a Dutchman from Holland with the wooden shoes and the stabbing? He was on the run for murder, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was. I don't know about that, but the guy wasn't a good guy, clearly. And if he was Dutch, that explains why he's a money man. Because
that's exactly what I was thinking.
The Dutch are the cheapest people on earth. So, as I say, I can't say it. I got in trouble on your air saying that before. No, the Dutch are the cheapest people on earth. I'm one of them. So
yes,
that's the way it goes.
Yes, and one of the things that's fascinating, though, they're not the people who are cheap, because these are the people who really crafted a way in which, for the ordinary man, to have the opportunity to buy a piece of a company he doesn't even understand. Really, when you look back at the legacy of what stock investing, speculation, all of what America became the youngest and the richest country, making multi-millionaires out of tens of millions of people. The earnings reports that come out, they're really an homage to the Dutch, aren't they? I mean, think about what they did. And think about the way it gets slammed. And think about how to this moment in time, it has changed the world because they had an idea.
Everybody heard about the Dutch tulip crisis, and it wasn't really a crisis. It was a crazy bubble time, but it's been way overblown. I mean, I think the high, there was one Dutch tulip traded for the price of a house on the waterway, which is ridiculous anyway. But it's not just a cigar, Shaun. There are the Dutch masters, and they're the ones that basically invented lending. They invented how to run a business. They invented, shares. I mean, they are very well and truly in Europe. Everybody knows them to be the race that is cheap and miserly and doesn't spend any money. And my father used to say it to me all the time. We're Dutch. We can squeeze the buffalo off a nickel. So, and you know what? And by the way, that's not a bad thing, because I can't tell you how many times my parents were getting big fights because my dad would go out and buy a $900,000 combine for the farm. And my mom would be looking for just a little money to buy a little Mercedes 190E back in the 80s, right?
Not going to happen.
And he says, I don't care what you tell me. I guarantee you one of those things makes me money and the other one just sits there and depreciates. We're not going to buy that one.
Yeah. I saw that story in Melrose Park, too. It was just the opposite way. They bought the Mercedes. Nobody had a combine. However, one of the things I want to tell you as we get back to the principles of propertyism, property rights, and this idea of what makes companies valuable and what makes them non-valuable. I couldn't help but really lose my mind today watching this company that really is a monument to an idea that was maybe stolen or maybe not stolen, probably stolen. However, what Zuckerberg did was amazing to me. It's amazing what this kid did. And the idea and the benefits of it, the idea that company settled with the most corrupt states in this country for $17 billion, that not $1 will go to one of the kids, one of the people harmed, in the name of that you just took $17 billion and you gave it to states that not only don't deserve it, will never give it to the rightful people who were allegedly harmed. They really wanted an example of how to implement a fascism, the likes of which I never thought I'd have to see in this country. Oh, you're not going to do this, and we're going to do this. So now the state not only tells the people, we make the decisions of what happens in this state. We take the money, even though you say you're harmed. We're still going to shake down a private company. I can't believe he settled, this coward bastard.
Well, because he was, look, I mean, I agree with you 100%. And let's just get one thing out of the way. I'm not for bullying of any children. I'm not for online harassment. I am not for any of that, right? But I'll tell you this. That's a parent's job.
Of course it is.
That's not the state's job. That's not anybody's job. And when we're trying to, I mean, all the smart people that I have talked to about this case all say it's a slippery slope, and we're moving into the place where the parents should be taking over, not the school, not Facebook, not anybody else. And how do you blame that on Facebook when it's happening in your house? I get it. I don't want kids to get harmed. But at the same time, folks, you got to pay attention. There has to be some sort of parental guidance there. And we've just basically let it go. And you're right. It's going to be total. The state's in control, just like people have, let in control of their kids go to the school. They don't want to know. Let the school raise them.
Well, that's just the emotional. That's the emotional argument, right? The reality is the state steals the money from the corporation. The $17 billion, $2 billion to California. California took $100 billion they said was a surplus, made it a $20 billion loss. They don't have 5 fracking cents. They're like the hobo outside of Maywood Park with yesterday's race form trying to pick the trifecta. And now they're going to get $2 billion on the name of a kid that they'll never pay. It's outrageous that he settled. Listen, I don't have skin in the game one way or the next. I don't own Facebook stock. I didn't believe it made money in the first place. I missed a lot of this. However, he's supposed to stand for the principle of what made him rich. And now he just destroyed it. I am appalled, really.
I mean, we've moved into dangerous territory. And look, I've got a British passport. What's going on over there with free speech is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we're getting into some really, really dangerous stuff.
Think about the lawyers. All the lawyers made a fracking fortune. These slip and fall, shyster, good-for-nothing scoundrels. They all made a fortune.
I agree. It's ridiculous. I mean, but you know what? I got to tell you, it was a smart move. I think that you never know what you're going to get with a jury. And these people nowadays, I mean, listen, I did the story on my show the other day. When you've got socialism rocketing up the ranks of popularity with young people, you've got the WNBA that can't describe what the W stands for in their name. And now you have NFL players getting cut that still have college eligibility left, going back down to the collegiate level for the NIL deals, because it's more than we're going to get in the NFL. The world has gone back, crazy. and that's why you wouldn't want to throw this idea at a jury, because who knows what they would come up.
Yeah, because you're dealing with scum. This is the other thing. I was on the plane today coming back, and there are the 6 morons with the fracking mask on. You could see they were proud to be slaves, self-loathing.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Couldn't believe it, Scott. Couldn't believe it. All ugly as the day is long. They might as well have had their voter ID card hanging out of their pocket. All Democrats identifying themselves right out in the open. And you look around and you think to myself, these are the idiots that would make up a jury? If you're on trial for free speech, these are the get the hell out of here, my peers. I can't wait for AI. You want to know who my peer is? AI. Give me AI. He'll tell me if I'm guilty or not.
I mean, can you imagine? You're going to be. This is a multi-billion-dollar outcome, and you're going to throw the decision at a bunch of people that don't have to be at work for a week or 2 in a row.
It's a bunch of fat old women. You don't want to smell anything in their house. The savages. Hair is purple. They think they could stand up when they pee. These are California peers. The scariest thing any business could face is we're going to take you to trial in California. Can you imagine?
Oh, my word. No, I mean, you're right. And it would look like you're just looking at a Crayola box by looking in the jury, all the different colors there.
Boy. We're going back to Holland. You got any layouts on real estate in Holland? It's either that or I really like that northern Italy by the coast, maybe a little Switzerland. You get good breaks on the timepieces. Have you scouted out your next country?
Yes, I have. I've lived I've not lived. I've traveled extensively in Europe, and I would say to this day it's got a problem with immigration. But the most beautiful city in the world still is Paris. It's unbelievable. And the best country in the world is Italy. I mean, the southern part of Italy, the Amalfi Coast is just, it makes you want to cry. Now, there are some beautiful parts of Holland, obviously, and Amsterdam's wonderful.
Yeah.
And my wife especially loves Amsterdam for a different reason. But my family...
You got to love the crazy Serb. Love her! Go ahead.
She's crazy, but we like... that's why we have dairy cows, because we're Frisians, right? The Frieslanders. It's a flat, watery kind of area, and I mean, they're the smart ones. That's what I love about the Dutch. But they are a little bit cheap sometimes to hurt themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could blend in Italy. I'd lose my mind with the accent and the sundresses. That would be very expensive for me. I would take the fresh food and the. Do they have divorce attorneys in Italy? But I do love the idea that.
No, I don't think they have them. No, what they do is they just let it go. You're allowed to have a girlfriend.
Let it go. Let it go. Where are you going? I'm going for a walk. Yeah.
When you die, there's 3 parts to the funeral. The middle part is your family, the left part is your wife's family, and then the other side is the girlfriend's family.
Yeah, you can always tell how wonderful a guy is by how hard his girlfriend cries for him in Italy. I do love that. One of the things I find fascinating is the NVIDIA numbers. What happened? Tell me. I've been doing a show. I didn't see it all.
Of course, they beat on top and bottom line, and then they guided better as well. The last 4 quarters they've done that. The stock sold off, but this time it did dip a little bit, but now it's come back pretty strong. I think I just checked; it was up about 5%, 4%.
Woo!
So it finally went up. I mean, these guys, it's like they're trying to keep a beach ball underwater. Yeah, we're up 4%, up about $8, which is not that big of a deal. But they've been the last 4 quarters in a row. They've done the same thing and they've hit it. So I think they're getting sick and tired of beating it up. It's a great stock. I mean, I own it, so all this full disclosure out there. I think it's fantastic, but the street's always afraid that thinks that there's going to be something coming around the corner. When's the next shoe going to drop? But these guys keep killing it, and they're raising prices. And by the way, they're not allowed to sell into China yet. This doesn't have any Chinese business in their numbers.
Did you see the hacking scandal? They hacked the Pentagon. They hacked everything else. These Chinese communist bastards. Did you see it?
No, was it
today?
Girlfriend?
Today.
Swallow's girlfriend?
Fang Fang, the rake. Yeah, you could pick a lock with her. What was it you liked about her? Her hips? Did you see her? You could pick a lock with her.
She looked like an 11-year-old boy.
Oh, my God. You got to keep him away from outlets and a wall. That guy will mount anything. I was thinking about going to the floor. I got a couple of buddies of mine. I want to see if Rick Santelli's still smoking Marlboros in the parking lot. Have you heard anything about the floor opening up in Texas, or is it just going to be all automated now? We're done. We're dinosaurs.
No. Well, I don't know about it. I don't know about that, but I do know that they're going to make a big play. Texas wants to be the elite stocks. They're not going to just take any listing. So they've got a chance. Look, they've got a great chance. The business is migrating south.
Yeah.
It used to be New York. Now it's Miami. There's no reason why Texas can't take a little bit of that as well. And London's suffering from the same thing. It's not going to be in London forever. I just think that the world's changing because you can't let these leftists run these blue cities and states. They're going to run them into the ground.
No,
and we're going to have the Mason-Dixon line is going to come back and play again because people will have had enough. They're just going south because they can't. Look, those people. It boggles my mind that we still have the intellect of folks that are still willing to wear masks on a plane. Now, people are going to write me. I guarantee I'm going to get lit up on Twitter by, well, what if they have an infectious disease and they're doing it for your benefit?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. But at the end of the day, we all know there's people that just still wear them because they think that it's a virtue signal for I'm better than you. I'm in the cult. I'm looking out for myself and you. You should thank me.
Yeah. Either that or it's a masturbation trophy that we're unaware of. I will say, I do think, you ever look at these frickin' people? I want to meet the caballero that's fooling around with these ugly bastards. Unless, I don't know if you, next time you can, look at the revenue into Chicago. It's fracking hysterical. It's the one-armed bandits, the illiterate tax on economics called the video poker machines and pot dispensaries. And I hear their big play is that the new generation cartel is going to start to offer stock options where you could buy in future distribution and future dope payoffs after Trump gets out of office. So it's the end of the world in the blue areas, and the red areas are thriving. I can't wait to see it tomorrow, 12:30 to 1:30. I heard Proft interview. I think he got the time of your show wrong. It's 12:30 to 1:30.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, it used to be 1 to 1:30. He hasn't changed his little script.
Oh, come on. He's still wearing golf attire from when Greg Norman was playing. You take a look at him?
Right. He's probably got those bike coaches pants that come up to his belly button.
Yeah. I tell you, there's a picture somewhere of him floating around with those parachute pants when he used to break dance. I'd pay big money for that. Scott Shellady, thanks for always making time for me, brother. I love you. Thank you. Say hello to the wife.
Have a good weekend. See ya.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Judy loves the summer in Chicago, but she hates the pain, so she called Rhino Shield.
After having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
And Rhino Shield comes with a 25-year warranty and is formulated specifically for our unique climate here in Chicago.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
And just in time for summer, Chicago, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield, and I am just thrilled to recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
This offer is for a limited time, so call now, 847-850-1132, 847-850-1132, or ChicagoRhinoShield.com.
No pain, go Rhino Shield.